We are about to commence another study, and as can be seen from the title of the study, it's called Marriages of the Bible. And this particular study that we are going to be having will be in two parts, and this is part one. And after the completion of part one, we will go into part two. Now, as the title of the presentation suggests, we're going to look at the various marriages that is outlined in the Bible. And before we go any further, we're going to read a prayer thought, and we're going to say a word of prayer. Our prayer thought is taken from the book Timely Greetings, Volume 1, Number 3, page 2, and it reads as follows. Let us pray for an abiding realization that God has promised help in bearing our burdens, not of tomorrow, but of today. Pray that we each day place in His hands all our purposes and plans, all our cares and anxieties. Then only can we rest in the assurance that in quietness and in confidence shall be our strength. So here we are told that we should place our cares, all our cares in God's hands, and our anxieties, the problems that we face today, because that's all we're guaranteed today. On that note, let us say a word of prayer. Great Father in heaven, we pray that you will bless us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and that you will be with us as we are about to study this subject. Through Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Now, as was stated before, this is a subject that we are going to be looking at. And we're talking about courtship/relationship or marriage examples from the Bible. So there are several examples outlined here. And number one talks about arranged marriages. Now, as the word suggests, arranged marriages is when the marriages are arranged for the individuals, usually a lot of times in the Bible dispensation by parents. Point two, we have captive women taken in war, made to get into marriage. So anciently, when people went to war and they saw a woman, they were told if they had a liking to her, they were not just at liberty to go and take her sexually or any other way. If they saw her and they liked her, they had to get married to her if they desired her. Now we're going to go into the details. These are just the titles, and we're just going to go over the titles of the various things that we're going to look at. Point three, male-initiated relationships. Our relationship. This is relationship that's initiated by the man, the male making the move. We have point four, female-initiated relationship. This is relationship that comes into being as a result of the female making the move and not the man. Point five, we have marriage as obligation. When someone is obligated to get married. An example is given there. If you have two brothers and one brother should die, leaving a widow behind, and she's childless, the brother is obligated to go and get married to his brother's wife. We're going to be looking at that also. Number six, marriages because of fornication. And this is when people are involved intimately without being married. What the Bible has to say about that. Marriages because of fornication. Point seven, marriage by recommendation. An example there is when Jacob's mother recommended that he go seek a wife from where she came from among her relatives. That's marriages by recommendation, when someone recommends someone else to an individual. And the last, point eight, marriages of convenience. When it's not love, but it's for some reason other than love. And it works out as something beneficial or convenient for someone. So these are the 8 points that we'll be looking at today. And as we said before, this is part 1 of this particular study that we're going to be having. And let's go into arranged marriages. Point 1 first. Arranged marriages. Arranged marriages is a practice where families select a spouse for an individual. This contrasts with love marriages, or it's different from love marriages, where the couple initiates the relationship themselves. Arranged marriages are often seen as a way to create a stable family unit and legacy. Arranged marriages are usually based on the idea that love develops after the marriage rather than before. And as you can see, the individuals are pushed together. And this sometimes is done, as we said before, by the parents. Okay? Now we continue. In the book 1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 17, there we're going to read of an example of an arranged marriage, a situation where a parent was putting people together or arranging a relationship for their individuals. And Saul said unto David, Behold my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. So this is now, Saul is telling David that he was going to give this girl, this daughter of his, to David to become his wife. And it continues, Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said, Let not mine hand be upon him, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. Verse 18, And David said unto Saul, Who am I, and what is my life, or my father's family in Israel, that I should be the son-in-law to the king? Verse 19, And it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel, the Meholathite, to wife. So here, Merab was supposed to get married to David. And at the time close to when the wedding was to take place, Saul changed his mind. This was not now a relationship that existed between Merab and David, and they were making the decision on their own. This was something being arranged by Saul. Verse 20, And Michal, and some people pronounce it Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. So here we see an arranged situation, and the father was dictating. These girls didn't have a say on their own. The father was telling them what should be done with their life pretty much. It's an arranged situation. Examples of arranged marriage in the Bible include Isaac and Rebekah. We should remember that Abraham had sent his servant to find a wife for his son Isaac. Isaac just left the decision or the working out of the situation with his father. That's Isaac and Rebekah. Jacob's marriages to Leah and Rachel. I remember that Laban was the one who made the decision. Esther and King Ahasuerus, and the like. The one involving Judah's sons. If you remember the story with Judah had 3 sons. These stories illustrate how families and elders played significant roles in arranging unions, sometimes involving parents' guidance and other times including elements of negotiations. And sometimes the parents come together and the parents work out the situation for the children, and the children just come together and they get married based on the decision, especially of the men, the fathers in those days. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 21 through to 23, we read the following. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. So it is not like there were a lot of women on planet Earth and Adam courted or made a decision. God made Eve for him, and God arranged the situation. But God gave Adam Eve. 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. And so this was a perfect arranged situation that the Lord did. Now, marriage contracts, this is story of redemption. And here we're reading page 85, paragraph 3. And this is what inspiration had to say. Sister White stated the following. Marriage contracts were then generally made by the parents. This is in the past. Yet no compulsion was used to make them marry those they could not love. But the children had confidence in the judgment of their parents and followed their counsel and bestowed their affections upon those whom their God-fearing, experienced parents chose for them. It was considered a crime to follow a course contrary to this. So anciently, the parents played a significant role in the marriage of the children. So much so, once the parents made a choice, the children just poured out their affection upon the one that whom their God-fearing, experienced parents had chosen for them. And this is what happened even in the situation with Adam and Eve. So for some folks too, like even Isaac, it was marriage, almost marriage at first sight. Historically, arranged marriages have served various purposes, including forming political alliances, maintaining family lineage, and strengthening the family. This tradition that dates back to ancient civilization. And so ancient civilizations, this was predominantly something that was practiced. And so in looking at marriages in the Bible, we see arranged marriages are one of the things that are outlined in the sacred writ. And we should be clear as we move on. Now, the next point that we had outlined, captive women taken in war, made to get into marriage. So this is not arranged marriages now. This is a different type of marriage. So it states, the law was meant to dissuade the soldiers from having any sexual relation with the captives. It provided protections for the captive woman, including the requirement for the soldier to treat her with respect and not to use her as a slave. So anciently, if there's a war and soldiers go out and having conquered a territory or a nation that they were warring against, you will have some people who survived the war. And some of these people are obviously women. Now, many wars have been fought on planet Earth, and usually sometimes women suffer a lot, especially when their side have lost the war. Some of them have been abused very badly. But there is something that the Lord did in the Bible. The Bible mentioned cases where a captive woman should be taken and married by a soldier. This law is in Deuteronomy 21 verse 10 through to 14, which describes how a soldier could marry a captive woman after a period of time if he desired her, but she would have to be treated with respect. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 21, we're going to start from verse 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. So here we're told that if the children of Israel had gone to war and they saw this woman that's attractive to them and they desired to get married to her, the only way they could have this woman is unless they consented that they were going to get married to her. No. So they would take her home, they would give her time to mourn, she would take off the kind of clothes where she's coming from, because obviously she's going to be integrated into Israel. She would cut her hair, whatever hairstyle she had, and she's growing out her hair afresh. She would cut her nails, or whatever she had on her nails, she would take them off, and she got some time to mourn for her family. After that, this person could get married to her. If for some reason they were not getting along together, for whatever reason, the Lord in verse 14 told him not to sell her for money, not to mistreat her, but to let her go. Because he had humbled her. He had gone into her and had a relationship with her. So she was able to go on her own. Now, we are going into the subject of the type of marriages in the Bible. And this is one type. And so this woman now, having gone through this experience, she might have appreciated the man for not killing her, for taking her in, or for wanting him to have her as his wife. But the clause was there. The Lord said, do not mistreat her. If you want her, you have to get married to her. And if the marriage doesn't work out, you have to leave her to go on her own. But don't abuse her. Okay, we continue. In the book of Judges, a situation played out, and we're talking about marriage by captivity. In the Bible, the book of Judges, you can pause if you so desire here and go read the story. In the book of Judges, there was a situation where 11 of the tribes of Israel had a fight against the tribe of Benjamin. Because of a situation with a woman, a concubine, who she and her person that she was having a relationship with, they were traveling and they stopped in the tribe of Benjamin. The long and short of the story is, as I said, you can go and read the story if you want. You can go from the beginning of Judges chapter 21. You can start even a few chapters before, and it tells you the full details of the story. The woman was raped by some of the men in Benjamin. She eventually died, and the 11 tribes came together and asked the tribe of Benjamin to hand over those that were responsible for doing the rape. The tribe of Benjamin said they were not going to hand over the men. The short of the story, there was a fight, and the men of Benjamin lost the war eventually. The other 11 tribes had vowed that none of their children, their daughters, should marry any of the men of Benjamin, or they will not give their daughters to the men of Benjamin. So after the war, the men of Benjamin, they didn't have women. It was so bad, the war. And the other 11 tribes were very sorry about it. So because they had vowed that they are not going to voluntarily give their daughters to the men of Benjamin, they came up with a solution. They remembered that you can take a woman by captivity and go marry to her. So the elders says, verse 16, then the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing that the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? The war was so bad. And they said, there must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. Verse 18, albeit we may not give them wives of our daughters, For the children of Israel had sworn, saying, Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. Verse 19. Then said they, Behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Shiloh, yearly in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, and on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south side of Lebanon. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, Go and lie or hide in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. Verse 23. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number, of them that danced, whom they caught. And they went and returned into their inheritance, and repaired the city, and dwelt in them. And this is what happened. They came out, they took captives of the women that they saw and that they liked, and they went home and they became their wives. So women made to become wives by captivity. And so this is outlined, and this is how the tribe of Benjamin was eventually spared. And because the other 11 tribes had said to them, We are not going to give our daughters to you men of Benjamin because of the evils that you had done, they said the best we can do is to do as outlined, go and take a wife of captivity. No, that is a next form of marriage in the Bible. So we have arranged marriages we have looked on so far, and we've looked on marriage through captivity. Now, the next point we're going to look at is male-initiated relationship. Is a concept with some that a man, the male, should be the one to initiate a relationship. Many women will not take the first step to start a courtship or express interest. They believe that it's the male's role to do so. Historically, this role stemmed from social structures where women had less control, and a woman's role was to be a suitable choice to be chosen by a man, and that she was not to make the first move herself. And this is what some women believe. Okay, we continue. There is a persistent social norm with some individuals that expects men to make the first move by initiating relationship, contact, and then to pursue the relationship. Some females are of the opinion that women just don't do that. And when they say women just don't do that, it's to make the first move, pursuing thing. And that it's still the man's job to initiate the move. That it's solely the man's role to the lead out in the initial stages of courtship. So some believe it's the man's sole role and responsibility to lead out. No, we're going to look at the Bible, male-initiated relationships. And all we're looking at is relationships / leading to marriage in the Bible. We continue. 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 39. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be the Lord that had pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and had kept his servant from evil. For the Lord had returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife. So here Nabal was dead. And David, having heard that Nabal was dead, sent a message, probably the same day, that he would like to get married to her. This was a male-initiated relationship. And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, they spake unto her, saying, David sent us unto thee to take thee to him to wife. So he's asking straightforward, bold, and straight to the point. No beating around. Her response, verse 41 and 42. And she arose and bowed herself on her face to the earth, and said, Behold, let thine handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Lord. She said she gladly accepted the offer. She was so elated. She was saying, she's willing to wash David's servant's feet just by being bestowed with this honor to being his wife. She gladly accepted. And now her husband had just died. And she accepted the offer probably the same day. And so she might have gotten married to David the day after her husband died. Verse 42, and Abigail hastened and arose and rode upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers that went after her. And she went after the messengers of David and became his wife. And this, as we said, is a male-initiated move. And so here in the picture, you see a man looking at a lady, and she might know that he's interested in her. And she might be saying, you, sir, you make the move. Some individual believes it's a man's role to ask a woman out, that it's for him to be direct, confident, and specific about his intentions by suggesting a particular activity and time, such as, I would like to take you out to dinner this Monday evening at 5. Are you free? He's to plan the date, and then he's to accept her answer gracefully, whether it is a yes or no. And so while the female might see the man looking, some females are of the opinion that it's the male that should make the move. Now remember, we're looking at these things, relationships/marriages, from the biblical perspective. So we have looked at arranged marriages, we have looked at marriages based on captivity, and now we have looked at male-initiated marriages, as in the example with David and Abigail. Now we continue. Female-initiated relationship. Many believe that it is perfectly acceptable for a woman to ask a man out on a date or even for marriage if her motive is right, like that of Ruth. Many men are charmed by this initiative on the female's part, and her direct honesty tends to show serious interest. Ultimately, the success of the approach depends on the personal preference of the man. Now, some men might have a personal preference, and the woman might not know the man's personal preference necessarily. The specific individual involved and the way the invitation is extended. When a female makes the first move, it takes the pressure off the man to be the one to always initiate, which can be appealing to him, especially if he is afraid of rejection, and some men are just shy. And so if they see the female and do admire her, that pressure for him to go to her is lifted, especially if he's already attracted to her, but he's shy to say anything to her. Now, let's go to the Bible. In Ruth chapter 3, verse 1 through to verse 6, we read the following. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee? This rest means settling down, getting married. And Naomi was saying to Ruth, she feels that something needs to be done for Ruth. Ruth needs to get married, that it may be well with thee. And now, is not Boaz of our kindred, with whose maidens thou wast? Behold, he will know it, barley tonight in the threshing floor. Wash thyself, therefore, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor, and make not thyself known unto the man, until he shall have done eating and drinking. So here is Naomi talking to Ruth and telling her that she felt that she needed to get married. She now saw Boaz as a prime candidate that she think would make a good husband for Ruth. These are two females talking in the house. Boaz has no clue what's going on. Naomi tells Ruth in verse 3 that she should take a bath, put on some nice lotion, put on some nice clothes on herself, and go to the workplace where Boaz works. But she should not disturb him until he has finished having his meal, and he has something to drink, and he is relaxed so she can talk to him. Verse 4, and it shall be, when he lieth down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, this is Ruth talking to Naomi, all that thou sayest unto me, I will do. So this now is a female initiated move. Ruth listened to her mother-in-law. These are two females talking. And she said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to approach him, and whatever it is, that is it. And she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. So now, that's what we read from the Bible. Now, watching God's providence. This is the Certificate of Fellowship letter, page 4, and this is what inspiration had left on record. Through faith and experience, this is the converted Christian, this is the converted man of God, is confident that God is leading him and that he, God, will freely give the wisdom and strength needed to cope with even the most trying of life's problems. In this respect, he, the converted man of God, in this respect, he is like Ruth, the Moabitess. He never lets an opportunity slips by. So here inspiration is saying, Ruth saw an opportunity to get married to this man called Boaz, and she was not going to let the opportunity slip by. Why? She knew that Boaz was a hard-working man, he was a converted man, and he was also a single man. If she had waited to let the opportunity slip by, some other woman was going to approach him, or he was going to eventually get married. So she decided to make the move. She was not going to make the opportunity slip by. And see, this is God's providence, because it's a possibility that Boaz was shy. He probably was not going to make the first move. He might have seen Ruth. He might have admired her. He might have liked her a lot, but he wasn't going to make the move. God's providence, though, moved upon Ruth and Naomi to say, go and talk to him. Now, what was Boaz thinking about Ruth in his mind? We go back to Ruth chapter 3, verse 7 to verse 14. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn. And she came softly and uncovered his feet, and laid her down. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid, and turned himself, and, behold, a woman lay at his feet. And he said, Who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a near kinsman. So what she's telling him, I want you to be my covering. I want to wake up and know that I'm covered beside you under the same. Put your love over me. It means I want to get married to you. She proposed to him. And he, verse 10, said, Blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast shown more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. So he knew what she was like when she just came, and he knew what she was as she settled into her job. Inasmuch as thou followest not young men, whether poor or rich. So he was watching her. And now, my daughter, fear not, for I will do to thee all that thou requirest. For all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. So now, two things Boaz expressed. He knew that Ruth was not chasing after men, whether they were rich or poor. All the people knew that Ruth was a virtuous woman. She watched God's providence. And he told her that he was going to get married to her. But listen, verse 12. And now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, albeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. What it means, as we told you before, when a woman has a husband and the husband dies, The brother of the dead husband should get married to the widow that is dead. That's what used to be practiced anciently. Now, Boaz was telling Ruth that he is a near relative. He is a relative of her husband that died. But he told her that there is a kinsman or a relative that's closer in blood lineage to her dead husband. He has to make the first choice whether he wants to get married to Ruth or not. But he said, if the man does not want to get married to you, he's telling Ruth that he's going to do it. This is a conversation that they're having privately in the night. Ruth made him know that she was interested in him. He told her that he is interested in her also, and that he would get married to her. But he said he has to follow the Mosaic law because there is somebody closer to him. But tarry this night, he said, and it shall be in the morning, that if he will not perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman part. If he will do it, he said, let him do it. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee. As the Lord liveth, lie down until the morning. So what he's saying, as God is living and is witnessing between me and you, I will get married to you if that man doesn't want to do it. But Ruth is the one who made the move. But all that Boaz is expressing, he did like Ruth. He did admire her. He did see qualities in her. But he wasn't going to say anything. And she lay at his feet until the morning. And she rose up before one could know another. And he said, let it not be known that a woman came into the floor. He said, this is between me and you. Don't let anyone know that you came here. And this is a private conversation. We go back to inspiration. We're in SR book, volume 2, page 12. And this is inspiration. In what manner were the scriptures given? God spoke to Esther and Ruth. So by experience through divine providence. So when Ruth went, God was speaking through Naomi to instruct Ruth that she should go. So this is not just a woman getting up and seeing a man. This is the Spirit of God moving upon her to say, this is the man, go and talk to him. Because I know he's shy, he's not going to say anything. A woman can ask a man out by being confident, clear, and calm. She can suggest a specific, low-pressure activity like them getting something to eat together, or for them to go get some drinks, or she can propose a more planned date like them going to the zoo or a formal dinner. The key is to be genuine and then to clearly state her interest in being able to spend more time with him and getting to know him better. We continue. Ruth chapter 3 verse 16 to verse 18. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who art thou, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done to her. And she said, these 6 measures of barley gave he me. For he said to me, go not empty to thy mother-in-law. Then said she, sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the thing this day. So once they had the meeting in the night, Boaz went about to settle the matter because he was now determined to get married to Ruth. And that is a female-initiated relationship. And so we have looked at arranged marriages. We have looked at marriages by captivity. We have looked at male-initiated marriages. And we have looked at female-initiated marriage. Now, we continue. Marriage by obligation. Brother's childless wife. It is a commitment-based duty situation. For many, The concept of obligation is intertwined with the broader concept of tribal or customary commitment, emphasizing a willingness to uphold tradition and making sacrifices for the good of the family. Example, Bob died leaving his widow Alice childless. So Bob died leaving his widow or his wife Alice childless. Charles, his wifeless brother, is then obligated to get married to her. So you can see there in the brackets, Bob died and he left Alice, his wife, who was now a widow. Charles, who was Bob's brother, goes and gets married to Alice. The first child that is born from that marriage, if Alice gets married for Charles, the baby boy will be called Bob, to keep the memory of his brother alive, the brother that's dead. Now in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 5, we read the following. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. So the first child will be given the name of the brother that died, so the dead brother is not forgotten. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, My husband's brother refuseth to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it, and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, So shall it be done unto the man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that hath his shoe loosed. And so here we see marriage based on commitment, or marriage based on obligation. Marriage by obligation, brother's childless wife. The practice of a brother marrying his deceased brother's wife is known as levirate, marriage, a duty to perpetuate the deceased individual name and ensure its property stays within the family. This obligation, found in the Bible, specifically Deuteronomy 25, verse 5 through to 10, required the living brother to marry the widow and have children with her for his deceased brother. If the brother refused, the widow could publicly shame him by removing his shoe. And so, this is marriage by obligation. Levirate marriages can, at its most positive, serve as a protection for the childless widows, ensuring that they have a male provider and protector. Levirate marriages can also be a positive in a society where women must rely on men to provide for them, especially in societies where women are under the authority of, dependent on their husbands, and to ensure the survival of the tribe or clan. A levirate marriage might only occur if a man died childless in order to continue his family line. And this practice is still carried on in some societies today. A man getting married to his dead brother's wife, and this is actually a picture of a levirate marriage, or a man. And sometimes some people are not impressed with the situation because they might not have liked the wife that their brother had gotten married to, but they have to get married to her. The practice of levirate marriages is strongly associated with patriarchal societies. The practice was extremely important in ancient times and remains so today in some parts of the world. And this, as we stated, is an actual picture that we're looking at one such marriage. And so, oftentimes, you can have a brother that got married to a wife, he died childless, and the younger brother might have to get married, and he could be much younger than the widow, but he gets married. And a story like this is depicted in the book of Genesis with Judah's sons. Judah had 3 sons. The firstborn was evil and he died. And his brother, the younger brother, went in to the wife, but he never wanted to raise up seed for his brother. He just went in to use her sexually. And the Lord had to put that brother to rest. He was slain, he died. Now, when the youngest of them was growing up, Judah did not want to give that youngest son to the lady to get married to. He didn't want to do it. But the Bible stated that it should be done. So that situation is marriage by obligation, and that's the next way that marriages was contracted in the biblical time. Now we're going to move on. Marriages based on fornication. Marriage is based on fornication, and we know fornication is a term used for sexual intimacy between a male or a man and a woman who are not married to each other. Now in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 22 verse 28 and 29 we read the following. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed or engaged, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, or the relationship is known about, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. He pays the dowry money. And she shall be his wife, because he had humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. So once the relationship is contracted, they have a sexual contact, he has to get married to her. He cannot put her away. All his days, she now becomes his wife. In the book Conflict and Courage, page 331, paragraph 2, Inspiration makes the following statement. Dear Sister White states, the town of Zorah, being near to the country of the Philistines, Samson came to mingle with them on friendly terms. So when Samson was growing up, he started to associate with the Philistines. He became friends with them. He knew them, and these people are not Christians. Thus in his youth, intimacies sprung up, the influence of which darkened his whole life. So now, intimacies sprung up. He saw someone, they might have become intimate, and he went down a road. A young woman dwelling in the Philistine town of Timnath engaged Samson's affections. So you see the word affections and intimacy. He became affectionate, they became intimate and affections. And he determined to make her his wife. Because now, if he became intimate with her and they have an affection, this is what the Bible had outlined, that you cannot do these things and you're not married. You have to get married. So this is marriages based on fornication. To his God-fearing parents, who endeavored to dissuade him from his purpose, his only answer was, she pleaseth me well. The parents at last yielded to his wishes, and the marriage took place. And so we see this situation is depicted, marriage based on fornication. In that Bible society, an unmarried woman who was not a virgin, an unmarried woman who was not a virgin would be considered devalued and could face difficulty in finding a husband. This could lead to social ostracism and financial difficulty. This law in Deuteronomy 22 verse 28 through to 29 is considered as a means of protecting the woman from destitution and emotional distress by ensuring that she was provided for by the man with whom she had sexual relation, and the law, prevented him from abandoning her. He couldn't. And the Lord ensured that he would not do it. No, that was marriage by fornication, or fornication that caused the marriage to occur. No, marriage by recommendation. A marriage by recommendation is a type of marriage arranged by a third party, such as parents, family, or friends, who believe that someone they know could be a potential partner, a good match for someone else that they are well acquainted with. So it's like one individual knows someone very well who they believe could be a good match for someone else that they know. The recommended advice is more sound when coming from a trusted person who knows you very well. Success, however, will depend on the individual's willingness to get to know each other and to build a lasting relationship. So sometimes it's not a male-initiated relationship or a female-initiated relationship. It's a relationship that's initiated by someone, a recommendation. And sometimes an individual can like a person, but they are too shy to approach. They can talk to someone who knows both parties, the admired and the admirer. And so somebody can approach a third party, a third person, and say, I like this person and I'm too shy to approach them. Can you say something for me and see what the person's intentions are? Or this could just be a person that see two individuals and think they would be a good match. It's called marriage by recommendation. A relationship initiated by a friend or family member, this often involves a pre-existing connection to one person that leads to meeting others. A relationship can be recommended based on the qualities and values of a person, such as honesty, openness, and respect. And sometimes you can have a group of people and somebody can say, John, by the way, I think you'd be a good match for Tina. And he said, yeah, both of you have the same personality. You're similar. And so this is relationship by recommendation. And the friend can go to Tina and say, Tina, I think you'd be a good match for John. And this is the qualities that I think he possesses. But it's up to the individual to say yes. And the individual might say, yes, it's okay. I think he's a good person. And I don't have a problem going out with him. So it's marriages by recommendation. In the Bible, we see a marriage or a situation by recommendation. In Genesis chapter 27, verse 46, then we see chapter 28, verse 1 and 2. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? So Rebekah was complaining or talking to Isaac that she did not like the women that she saw around. And if Jacob should get married to one of these women, it would be so bad to her. Isaac, in verse 28, verse 1 and 2, called Jacob, and Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Verse 2, Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban thy mother's brother. So here Isaac was recommending to Jacob, who had not known these girls that he was talking about, Laban's daughters. And Isaac was saying, listen, go back there, that's where your mother is from, and go find a female from there. They're better quality women. That's my recommendation. I know them. You'll find someone good there. And we know that Jacob followed the recommendation and went and did find wives there. The role of the recommender. The person making the recommendation is often someone who knows the individuals well. They know the individuals that they're recommending, or who knows someone that is a good match for them. Unlike a full arranged marriage, the potential couple has the freedom to accept or reject the recommendation and they should definitely get to know each other before making a decision. It's a personal choice to meet someone based on the recommendation of another's suggestion. So when Isaac recommended to Jacob that he go and choose a wife, Jacob might not have decided to listen to him. He might have said no. But he followed the recommendation and he went. And so these are marriages based on recommendation. And these things happen today still. We continue. Marriages of convenience. Marriages of convenience. A marriage of convenience is a union where partners marry for reasons other than for love or for emotional connection. These marriages are for financial security, tribal connection, political alliances, dynasty, to please family members, or to meet social expectations of being married. This term is used when there is a marriage between two people because it brings advantages such as assets or social status, rather than being motivated by romantic feelings and genuine love. So marriage of convenience is something other than genuine love. No, Bible. In 1 Kings chapter 11 and verse 3, and he, Solomon, had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Now, in the book of Fundamental of Christian Education, page 498, paragraph 4, inspiration there states the following. He, and this is Solomon, reasoned that political and commercial alliances with the surrounding nations would bring them to a knowledge of the true God. That's what he had in his mind. And so he entered into an holy alliance with nation after nation. Often these alliances were sealed by marriage with heathen princesses. The commands of Jehovah were set aside for customs of the surrounding nations. So these marriages, some of them, were nothing to do with love. No courtship, no recommendation. This is not arranged marriage. This is not male-initiated relationship nor female-initiated relationship. These are just relationships that went in relationships of convenience. And these things happen today. In more recent times, many individuals started marrying for the me first reasons, for recognition, status, for help and assistance, or for other unnumbered and untold selfish reasons. And sometimes too, one person can love their partner, genuinely love the person, but that person didn't get married for love. They're totally detracted. They could get married because somebody's saying, man, you're so old and you've never been married, or you're not getting married to a wife. So the man gets married and he has no interest in marriage. He just gets married to take off the social pressure. He might not even be interested in females. Sometimes people can be getting married in the time that we live for financial status, financial escape. They are in poverty in their life and they need some better life, somebody to take care of them. People get married for immigration reasons. People get married for all kinds of reasons that is separate apart from genuine love. This is not arranged marriage. It is not male-initiated marriage. It is not female-initiated marriage. I'm talking genuine marriages. This is just marriage of convenience. And so it is the selfish me first reason. And these situations bring suffering, especially when one person loves the other and then the love is not reciprocated. So we have arranged marriages. We have captive women taken in war, made to get into marriage. We have male-initiated relationships, or that leads to marriage. We have female-initiated relationship that leads to marriage. We have marriage as obligation, brother's childless wife getting married. We have marriages because of fornication. We have marriage by recommendation, and as Jacob recommended that he go seek, Jacob mother recommended that he go seek a wife where she came from among her relatives, and Isaac had expressed that to Jacob. And we have marriages based on convenience. And so God, in his foreknowledge, saw all these circumstances, and it's written in the Bible. So what the Lord is saying, if people enter in a relationship and they even make a mistake sexually before marriage, they should get married. No, we don't force people to tell people anything to do, because inspiration brings out the point that even if someone reaches the altar and realize that it's a wrong choice, they cannot get married. They shouldn't, because they realize it's the wrong person. But what inspiration is bringing out through all of this, God's people should be sincere, faithful, and true, regardless of how they meet and the circumstances in which their relationship comes into being. So what the Lord is wanting us to understand: be not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. And so if the relationship is recommended by a third party, if it's the female that initiate the relationship, if it's the male that initiate the relationship, if it's the parents that work to bring them together, what the Lord is saying, God's people should not be yoked together with unbelievers. And regardless of however they meet, genuine love and faithful expression should be. So these are the situations that we have looked at the marriage relationship from the Bible. Inspiration has this to say: God has authorized no one to dictate to others as to whether they should live a married or a single life, or whom they should marry and whom they should not, other than to pass his or her opinion if so requested by the parties concerned. So here we have come to a time where parents cannot force any arranged marriage on anyone. They can recommend. A third party can also recommend. But we cannot force, we don't dictate to anyone what they should do with their life. Parents can advise, but when their advice is not appreciated and rejected, they should do as the father of the prodigal, and this is even Samson's parents: let them have their way, lest they should lose them forever. And this is my closing statement. Answer Book 3, page 83. Inspiration states: those who do conclude themselves led to elect marriage, and who are determined to move in the fear to the glory of God, will necessarily marry only in the Lord. They will not take to themselves either unbelievers or unconverted, worldly, careless, unconsecrated believers. So you do have unconsecrated believers. So even if someone recommends an unconsecrated believer, we wouldn't expect anyone to listen to that recommendation. The wise will keep constantly in mind the realization that worldly dress and deportment cannot charm a true Christian, and therefore cannot possibly bring a happy, abiding, true Christian union. They will set their affections only upon one who is an earnest, zealous, industrious, spiritual-minded adherent to present truth. So whether it be the male or the female, they will set their affections only upon one who is an earnest, zealous, industrious, spiritual-minded adherent to present truth. And so, what we have looked at so far is the marriages and how they came into being based on the Bible and the examples we have given. We stop with prayer. Father in heaven, bless and guide your people and give us vision lest we perish, and teach us not to judge lest we get judgment from you, and to learn to mind our own business and to advise only when we're asked, and to wish the best for everyone. Through Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Seek ye the Lord while he may